we'll be continuing from where we stopped. Last class, we talked about the linear equation, under equation generally. We consider linear, and today we'll be talking about quadratic equations. And then under quadratic equations, we are going to explain methods of solving quadratic equations. Number one, we'll be considering by using factorization method. Two, completing the square method. Three, quadratic equation formula. Then four, graphic method. We'll be using that. Those are the four methods you can use, at least for the level of secondary school students, even beyond. Now, when we solve an equation through this pattern, but I want to say, not all equations can be factorized. Not all equations can you use completing the square to solve. And not all equations you can solve by using your graphic method. But all equations can be solved by quadratic formula. And most times, students call that formula almighty formula. But I do check my students, correct them that no, only God is almighty. Let's give that right to God alone. Every other one, they are handiwork of men. So therefore, when we are talking about quadratic formula can solve any form of quadratic equation. So today, we are talking about quadratic equation. But quadratic equation is in two patterns. One, the first one is when the coefficient of your x squared is 1, is unitary. When the coefficient of your x squared is 1 or unitary, that means there is 1 there. We didn't put 1 to avoid tautology. 1x squared. So when it is 1, you can solve it. Then another pattern that your quadratic equation can take is for your x squared to have a coefficient greater than 1, which is starting from 2, 3, 4, and to another number upward. So whenever you have these two, we'll be explaining the two forms of quadratic equation. And after this class, if you have any question, please send it to me. And when you check under the bio, or from either YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, you will see a number there, which is my WhatsApp number. Please send any question to me and let me know from your class online. I will attend to you very fast and return the question back to you. Thank you. God bless you. So let's go to today's class. Today's class, we are talking about the first question. Says x squared minus x minus 20 equals 0. To solve quadratic equation by factorization, number one, look for two factors. Those two factors or two numbers, when you add them together, it will give you the coefficient of x. But when you multiply the two factors, the same one, it will give you your constant, which is minus 20. Now, I will take it again. Two factors. When you add them together, it will give you coefficient of x, which is minus 1 in this context now. When you multiply them together, it will give you minus 20, which is the constant value of that equation, which is minus 20. Now, let's see, what are the two factors of minus 20? That when you add them together, it will give you minus 1. I think that should be minus 5 plus 4. When you have minus 5 plus 4, we give you this. So when we have minus 20, can give us plus 5, then multiply by minus 4. That will give us this. But when you add them, when you say plus 5 plus minus 4, that will give you minus 1. So minus 1 is the value, coefficient of x, while minus 20 is the constant value of that equation. So that means we are good to go by using 5 and minus 4, plus 5 and minus 4. And that will take us to x squared. You bring the first one, plus 5x minus 4x. Then, 5 we take minus, 4 we take plus. 5 we take minus, then this one we take plus. So when you add them together, that means we are having minus 5x plus 4x. Please, pardon me for that. Now the next one is, what have we just done? We've just substituted the factors of minus 20 into the position of minus 1x in our question. You will remove minus 1x, that means coefficient of x. Then you put your factors of your constant into that place. So we have just removed minus 1x and have substituted it with minus 5x. You put x, you put x. Minus 5x plus 4x. Then what remains there is minus 20. All equals 0. Now, what's the next step? We will pair them together 2, 2. How do we pair? That means we say x squared minus 5x bracket it. The next sign you are having there is plus. Observe it. Then write your bracket, the next one. Then you put the next two values into that bracket. That will be 4x minus 20, close the bracket, equals 0. Now the next thing is look for factors of x squared and minus 5x. What is the number that is common or letter that is common to the two? Numbers are not common, only the letter. So we bring the letter out, which is x. You open a bracket, it remains x minus 5. Why? You must use this one to get this back. Meaning x times x will give you x squared. X times minus 5 will give you minus 5x. Please note that one. Now we move on. The next number, we write it in the middle. Then we look for the factors of this and this. The only factors of 4x and minus 20 is a number, which is what? 4. Then we bring the 4 out. Bring the 4 out. Open the bracket. After removing the 4, it remains x minus, what is the next? When you remove 4 from minus 20, what will it give you? It will give you 5. Close it, equals 0. Then do this test to confirm that this one is equal to this. Plus 4 times x will give us plus 4x. Plus 4 times minus 20 will give us minus 5 rather. Plus 4 times minus 5 will give us minus 20. So we are still on course. We move on. The next thing is your factors outside. Put the two of them together in a bracket. Meaning you will have x plus 4, close it, x minus 5, x minus 5. The same thing, pick one. So you have x minus 5, all equals 0. Now, we now begin to, we equate each of the brackets to a 0. That means we have x plus 4 equals 0, put a comma. X minus 5 equals 0. So from this place, the next thing is we want to get the value of x. X is equal to, I'm having plus 4. When any number with a sign, either plus or minus, only plus or minus, crosses is equal to the other side, the sign of that number will change. If it was plus, it will change to minus. If what you have there before happen to be minus, you will, by the time you carry it to the other side, you have plus. So this is plus 4, it will turn to minus 4. Comma. Then you have x is equal to what? Minus 5 to the other side will give us plus 5. So our value will now be x is equal to what? Minus 4 and 5. I believe we understand this equation better. Now we are going to number 2. Please permit me with all apology to put the second one here so that we can see it clearly. So the next question says 4. Let me write the number of the question. Question 2. That says 4x squared is equal to 30x minus 14. That's what the question says. But there's a need for us to rearrange, because every equation must follow, there are 2 patterns, must follow at least this pattern of equation. What is the pattern? Permit me to write the pattern here. The pattern says, it says ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. If you look at this, the value of a, b, and c are the real numbers we are having. So, but everything must be arranged in order. It will now be equal to 0. That makes the equation written correctly. So let's go on. We want to rearrange. The first thing is rearrange. Rearrange the equation. Rearrange the equation. That will be 4x squared. You carry your plus 30x inside. It will turn to minus. Minus 30x minus 14. Take it inside. That will be plus 14 equals 0. Now we have the equation written correctly. But we want to solve it. But don't forget, the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1, which is 4. How do we solve that? Whenever you have an equation like this, number 1 thing is you multiply the coefficient of your x squared by your constants. So you'll be looking for the factors of the products of 4 and 14. Whatever the product is, the answer is. The factor of it must give you, by the time you add together, must give you minus 30x, which is the value of x, which will be minus 30. But in this content, another thing, if you look at this question, is a number that can be divided by 2, that are divisible by 2. So let's use 2 to divide through. You can say divide through by 2. So you have 4x squared over 2 minus 30x over 2 plus 14 over 2 equals 0. So you can say 2 here 1, here 2. 2 here 1, 2 here 15, 2 here 1, 2 here 7. So we can now rewrite our equation as this. We are having 2x squared. 2x squared. That's that. Minus 15x. Don't forget it's 15 that remains. Then plus 7 equals 0. Please look at it very well. So this is what we'll be solving now. We are going to multiply the coefficient of x squared by our constant. So that will give us 2. We will now say 2, though it's having x squared, yes. But 2 times 7 will give us what? 14. 2 times 7 will give us 14. Then if your 2 times this one give you 14, what will now be your product? 1, 2 times 7 has given us 14, which is our product. But how do we get the 2 factors? That the product of the product or the multiplication of the 2 factors will give us 14. But the addition together will give us minus 15. Now, when you look at the factors of 14, 14 has a longer factor. Please permit me to just put it at this side, which will be 14 times 1, 7, times 2. 14 times 1 will give me 14. 7 times 2 will give me 14. So which one can I add together to give me this? And by the time I add them together, that means I'll be having 14 and 1. Minus 14 minus 1. Why? If I'm having minus 14 minus 1, when I multiply them together, it will give me plus 14. Are you getting it? Then, but by the time I add them together, it will give me minus 15. So these are the factors that are suitable for that equation. So we adopt it in. We will come back to this. So the two factors of 14 that we are having here are these. We are going to make use of this. So that means we will substitute this into the value of minus 15x. So what do we have? We have 2x squared. The first one is minus 14x. The next one is minus x or minus 1x. Minus 1x is the same thing as minus x. Then the next one is plus 7 equals 0. That's what we have. Now we will now say we pair them 2, 2. That will be 2x squared minus 14x. You bracket it. Minus the next 2, which are x plus 7 equals 0. Please get it very well. At this point, we'll be bringing out factors or common factor of the two numbers in each brackets. So we look at this. 2 can go here, 2 can go here. X is here, x is here. So we can say 2x. It will remain 1x. Minus when we remove 2 from, when we divide 14 by 2, it remains 7. And don't forget we've removed the x, only one x here. So you close the bracket. You have x minus 7. Because 2x times x will give you 2x squared. 2x times minus 7 will give you minus 14x. Please don't forget that. Now the next thing is you have minus plus x plus 7. There is nothing number we can bring out, but we can bring 1 out. Why? Because if I put 1 here behind the bracket, I can say my 1. It will remain x now minus 7 equals 0. Why? Because 1 is just a number that when it multiplies another number, it leaves the number as it was. Do you understand? It will not change the value of that number. Now, when you say minus 1x now, not 1, but minus 1x times x will give you minus x. Minus 1 times minus 7 will give you plus 7. You can see we are still on course. So let's go. Now we have minus 7 here, minus 7 here. So let's bring the two factors, the common factors, into a single bracket. So we have 2x minus 1, we close it. Now, and we pick one out of the two. X minus 7 all equal to 0. So we will now say 2x minus 1 equals 0. X minus 7 equals 0. So we can say from here that 2x is equal to, we carry minus 1 to the other side. That becomes 1. Then here we have, we have x is equal to minus 7 to the other side will become plus 7. So we have that. Permit me to continue from that side. I don't know if we can still sit down. Let me try a little one more. That means I have, from here, I will divide both sides by the coefficient of my x. That means I'll be having something like this. I'll be having 2x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 7. This one will now be over 2. This one will be over 2. Now, then this one is already there. X is equal to 7. So 2 will cancel 2. My x is equal to 1 over 2. Don't forget that. And this one will now be x is equal to 7. So that will be our final answer. Thank you for that. Then let me quickly solve that number 3. number 3. Number 3 is very simple. It's just a way of manipulating your figure to get what your answer there will be. Now, number 3 says, that's question 3 now, which says 2s squared minus 98 equals 0. Look at this question. 2s squared minus 98 equals 0. How do I do it? We can do it in a better or simple way. And that means do it as if you are solving an equation. That will be 2s squared is equal to, carry this one to the other side, 98. Then, if you look at what you have left, divide both sides by 2 to eliminate this so that you can have your s squared, which is the variable you are looking for, the unknown you want to get. So that means when we now say divide both sides by 2. So we have 2s squared over 2 is equal to 98 over 2. So we have this. So this one will give us x squared is equal to 4, it remains 1, then 9, 49. So by the time you carry the next thing is, use your scale to carry it to the other side. When you pick a square of a unknown or any number, and it crosses over is equal to the other side, the scale will turn to square roots. If what you are adding on this, whether number or coefficient, is square root, by the time you carry it over is equal to, it will turn to square. Ditto to cube and cube roots. So let's go on. So we have x is equal to square root of 49. But mind you, you will put it this way, plus or minus, because we don't know that it could be minus times minus will give us plus, plus times plus will give us plus. So the two of them are still working towards the same thing. So we will say x is equal to plus or minus 7, because square root of 49 will give us 7. So by this we are having x is equal to either plus 7 or minus 7. So that becomes our final answer. So today we've been able to finish the quadratic equation using factorization method. So by next class, we'll be going to completing the square method. Another term that completing the square method is how to what number must be added to an equation given that will make it a complete square. So thank you for today. You can have a look of it. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to send it back as a comment. Help us to subscribe at the YouTube, follow, give us a comment. Like and give us a comment. And on the TikTok and Facebook, please don't forget to follow us. Then like, help us share to some of your friends as well. Drop a comment. Thank you for today's class. You're welcome.